bumpers. Well, we might have bumpers, we might not. All right. Hello. Sean Brady, not 100% sure if the technology is working in our favor, but there you go. It's always good stuff. I'm Sean Brady, and I'm here with my man, Jayton Gunter, out in California. Cheers to you. We're tasting a couple of obscure wine grapes. And Jayton challenged me to find a grape I never heard of before in South America or in Central America. And as I found in St. Louis, it wasn't too easy to find too many different obscure grapes. So I did find this one at our local, the Wine and Cheese place, local wine store here in St. Louis. And I got this guy, a Turcos Bonarda. Have you heard of Bonarda grape before? I didn't either.
Yeah.
Jayton did.
Yeah. I love Bonarda.
I know, right? So this was, it's just a fun thing to try something different. And, you know, that's not a Cab. It's not a Zin. It's not a Malbec, not a Syrah, all the normal ones you see everywhere. And so we thought it'd be fun to go into a tasting parody, if you will, and go into it and say, hey, if you were tasting with us, you can follow along with this. If you don't have the wine today, that's okay. With our digital technology, you can follow along with us in the future. After you look at our reviews, probably going to be posted over on Vivino or on Instagram for Jayton. And Jayton, welcome to the show. Welcome to the fun. Thanks for being here. What do you got in your bottle today? I have the 2018 Turcos, and you have something completely different. What do you have?
So we're in Uruguay today, and we're tasting the Pisano RPF Tannat. This is the Reserva Personal. I'll show you that bottle real quick so you guys can see it.
There you go.
And yeah, I'm excited to try this. I'm a big Tannat lover, and I know a lot of people don't know about it. And it's actually their national grape in Uruguay. So I was like, okay, well, let's get down to business and drink some good wine.
Wow.
Okay.
That's awesome. Well, so how we'll start this off is I'll begin tasting and sharing notes on mine. And I already started getting into it a little bit because I opened it up and I'm like going, I've never had this before. What's it going to be like? I don't know. So on the nose, and I will say, I did let this open up for about 15, 20 minutes. And at first I was like, uh-oh. It tastes like this was like something that's not quite fully fermented the right way yet. Right. It reminded me of when my dad used to make dandelion wine in the basement many years ago. But and what I mean by that is anytime you're doing you get the yeastiness of that winemaking process. And it's like, oh, I don't think I want to be smelling that quite yet in my bottle. But fortunately, and this was a screw top.
Oh, cool.
Which so it was easy access. I'm like, well, it wasn't like corky, but I did get some of that. I'm like, I think it was just a little fermentation going on.
Gotcha.
But that was on the initial sip. Now, as it's opened up a little bit more, it's completely changed in complexity and flavor and even taste. So on the nose, it's lost some of that yeastiness to it. And now you're just getting more into the grape itself. So I think I just got to taste it.
Get to it.
Well, the first thing I noticed is it's a lot drier than I expected. So right away, I'm like going, well, this is going to be, and it's also fruitier. It's got a almost like a sharp fruit flavor to it, kind of like when you bite into a fresh cherry or something like that. It's not quite tart, but a little bit, right? Yeah. Not like a super tart where, I'm puckering up my face, right? Not like that, but there is that kind of fruit forwardness to it, but it's also dry, which I wasn't expecting, especially off the nose. And it's not an overly sweet wine either, which I like. So as this is opening up, I'm getting a lot of, again, the cherry flavor is coming through. I'm also getting it's almost like a green apple and cherry. Like you're
Interesting.
getting that,
Okay.
yeah. So it's like one of those cranberry juice blends where we're getting this, and isn't that what wine is anyway? It's always a bunch of
Yes.
fun blends and the flavors in there.
Mm-hmm. It looks like it's it sounds like it's more angular as far as the fruit goes. Like it's not lush round fruit. It's more like there's a edge to them
Look
from your description. I
and
love
look at
that
that.
color.
I
I
know,
love
isn't
that
that
color.
interesting? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
man.
it's pretty wild.
It's beautiful. I mean, it's all about the experience, right? It's not just the juice itself, but there's aesthetics to it, like the look of it, the smell of it, all that stuff, all come all matches up to create a great experience.
Now,
So
I will say in the background, which you can't see because you don't have smell-o-vision, otherwise you'd be smelling this grape right now.
yeah.
What I would say is we have pizza going on in the background. We have deep dish pizza cooking in the background.
That
And
sounds
it's like, so you get all these nice flavors of the cornmeal crust because it's deep dish, right?
yeah.
And the glutens and the cheese and the tomato
Uh,
sauce. And one, it would go great with that. But I would also like to try some interesting meat dishes with this, right?
okay.
Some different types of even heavily seasoned barbecue. I think it's going to hold up to that. So
Okay.
you wouldn't be afraid of rubbing up a nice, whether it be ribs or
Mhm.
even just over seasoning some type of steak or a piece of meat. That would go really, really fine with that.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
now you're making me want to try it and get some and throw some ribs on and see what
I
happens.
know. I think we just need to when social distancing is not as apparent in our world, then definitely we'll do that.
I will swing up. I'm down. I'm down to swing up there and hang out, man.
Exactly.
It's been a while since
So
I've been out.
I'm getting into mine. I'm going to be quiet and just enjoy a few more sips of this while you go.
All
But
right.
definitely get into yours. I know you've been sipping on that a little bit. Jump right in.
I did. I needed to try it first. You got to taste test it before you go on camera and talk about it. But anyway, so we are talking about Tannat. Tannat, Tannat, right? It's a grape that some people are not familiar with. It is actually one of the original spots it was grown was in the southwest of France, in the Mataran area, in a small little area in Mataran. And now it's the national grape in Uruguay. They actually plant a lot of Cabernet there, a lot of Merlot there, but the grape they plant more than any other varietal is Tannat. And I'm going to tell you right now, even pretty much across the board for Tannat, if you're a Cabernet Sauvignon lover, you're going to like Tannat because it gives you some of those same, like as far as structure wise, it gives you some of those same elements in this grape varietal, and it's a lot of times at a quarter of the price of like say a Napa Cab. So it's a way to go if you're trying to get value. But with that being said, let's get right into it. I love Tannat, so let's get right into it. On the nose, give a little swirl because these are known for being a bit big and bold, and you want the wine, the aromas to jump out of the glass at you. So I'm getting like a ripe plum, like kind of a rich ripe plum going on here. I'm also getting this cranberry kick too. So you're looking at blue fruit and red fruit at the same time. There's also a little bit of a spice, like a cardamom going on the nose. Okay, so also something that's jumping out at me is, when you buy a brand new car and you step in that car, you got this like fresh leather smell jumping out. That's what's going on here. There's definitely like a kind of a fresh leather going, like not an old like mint, but like more of a brand new moisturized leather going on. There is there's some black licorice here. There's also like some black olive. And a little bit of a wet soil thing that I normally get, like if I'm just smelling a Bordeaux, I'm getting that pretty much here as a earthy kick. Lastly, violets. There are floral aspects to this wine, so I'm getting like kind of like a violets jumping out of the glass for me. All right, that's enough of me because I can go about this nose. It's very complex. I can talk about this nose forever. But I want to.
So you mentioned it was really cab-like, and people. I always love to know. So, what would I pair that with? You mentioned a cab. So, are we talking big steak, or what?
Yeah.
What would you love to pair with that?
Yeah, Tannat tends to be a full body grape, just like a Cabernet Sauvignon. And for me, without even tasting it, I know that they're very good with big red meat, also with stews, like like a rich stew. I haven't tasted yet, but on the nose, just going off the nose and what I know about Tannat, they tend to be really good with those type of things. So I'm also getting one thing too that's now coming. See, like I said, I can smell this all day. It also has this espresso bean thing going on there too. So there's like a kind of a deep like coffee, but like even deeper, like more espresso style than regular coffee. So I'm gonna taste it now because I want to taste it. It smells delicious, so I know it's gonna taste delicious.
Getting into it.
Yeah, it does make you want to dance a little bit. This is definitely a Cabernet Sauvignon lovers wine. Like big, bold up front, very well structured. Tannins are big. Tannat is known for big tannins. They're here, but they're not over the top because there's enough fruit to kind of balance them out. But you do feel the tannin and a little bit of a bitterness on the finish. But the bitterness is good because it's like it has all this fruit that starts up your palate, and then that bitterness kicks in. But it doesn't leave bitterness in your on the finish. It gets a little bit more. It's dry on the finish. Pretty long finish too to say. Like yeah, it's pretty long on the finish. But it also has like these earthy components that kick in too, like sweet, wet soil, and yeah. Let me taste a little bit more. There's a lot going on in this wine. To be honest, I just got excited, and you know what happens when I get excited drinking something.
You got to keep drinking it.
You keep on drinking it, but you also you start going away from the tasting side. You start drinking it instead. And so let me move my vehicle back on the road towards the tasting side. Let me taste a little bit more, and I'll break it down for you more.
Oh, J-Town, I lost audio from you. You're on mute. You might have hit your button. Like, where'd he go?
Can you hear me?
Okay, we can hear you now. Perfect.
Okay. Sorry about that. So I'm
technical difficulties all over the place.
For real, man. Have it on do not disturb and it still disturbs me. So I'm definitely getting this that plum going on up front, along with some blackberries that I wasn't catching on the nose. There's a little bit of a greenness too. So I think they're doing full cluster meaning that they're pressing it with the stems and everything. So I think that may be why I'm getting a little bitterness too. So the green up in the mid palate, there's a little bitterness in the third quarter, not on the finish. There's also a little bit of a smoky thing too, like smoked cured meat that I wasn't catching before, and I'm getting that more in the third quarter too. So this is extremely complex wine. I mean, it's layers upon layers upon layers of flavor and notes here, and I recommend this wine highly. I think it's going to go great with red meat, like I was saying before, but I think it'd be even better with the stews. I think if you had like a big, rich, meaty stew, this would kill that. This is a delicious wine. I recommend this. I can't recommend it enough. And I actually got it from Total Wines for $18. So it was right below our little mark. And yeah, this is a steal in my opinion. This would be on my show. You know, my wine show of the week that I do every Friday. This would definitely make my show, and I think I would blow this up. This is amazing wine for the price.
Now, I know prices vary because I checked it out at Total Wines by Me, and they didn't have the same vintage. They had the 2017 available right now. And they had, but the guy tasted it, Robert over there. He's been around there for, I think, 20 years. Uh-huh. And he's like, well, the 2015 was great. And the 2017, he was like, yeah, is it going to be a little too fresh and not quite the same? Mm-hmm. But he said it held up well. And so obviously I haven't tried it yet. but going off his recommendation and yours, that one was price point, I think it was $22.99 here in the Midwest. So it might be, depending on where you're at in the country, it's going to be a little different.
Actually, when I went there, and you're right, it is $22 at Total Wines, but right now they have a small little sale going on. So I don't know how long the sale goes to, so I would recommend getting it right now. And I think this is a wine that's going to go on sale again, but it's punching way above its weight class. Like I'm talking
That's
about,
awesome.
This is a $40 bottle of wine in my opinion, if not more, and it's only at $22 at a regular price. So this is a kill. This is still wine for me.
And going back to mine, from a price point, $12.99, right? Woo! So I kept it under $15.
I love
and
it.
As I'm drinking this more, and you're giving some of your descriptors, it's giving me ideas what I want to eat, right? Yeah. And certainly with like I'm thinking Argentinian steakhouse and like some of their different sauces that they have on the side, but definitely like that char grilled meat with that little bit of the coals and the smokiness that comes off of that natural char, right?
Yeah.
That's going to really elevate. This wine would elevate that experience that much more, and I think it'd be a lot of fun. I'm thinking of what's the chimichurri sauce. Because
I love that. Yeah, I love that.
This has got enough right amount of acid where even though that's usually a vinegar based type of dressing,
yeah,
it's going to hold up and it's going to accentuate it all the more. So you don't need it, but it's not going to take away from it like it could for some other wines. So this is good for is right in that little grill house.
I feel that. I actually like this wine too because this only 13.5 alcohol.
Oh wow.
And it's lush. Like you don't notice it. You think it has more alcohol than it does.
Most of the cabs that I find are, pushing 14, 15, somewhere in there. Usually 14 and a half is what they put on the bottle. We know there's always a little variance in the ABV, but say something about that from an alcohol standpoint, an ABV. Why is that surprising? Why would it be higher or lower? Or give insight around that?
For something that's massive on the palate, for something that's full body, you just expect the alcohol to be at 14.5. I mean, it's normally about 14.5. So if they're keeping it in check, and again, there's variation, and I don't know what the legal, how they do it in Uruguay. I don't know if like they give a percentage or a 0.5%, or if they have to be specifically on that percentage. I mean, we're different out here, so I don't know. But if this is true 13.5 and they're keeping it in check, this alcohol in check with this lush feast, that's great winemaking, in my opinion. And that keeps this thing in balance. I mean, there's also quite a bit of acid here too. I love this wine, man.
That's awesome. I think you're talking us into it. And you're not even a paid sponsor for this wine. But man, everybody wants to drink it. And same here. There's not a whole lot of wines that and get direction, so and just knowing our wine stewards, whether it be at any wine shop, Total Wines, a chain, or the local little wine and cheese place. Yes. I talked to James and Dylan at my local store that's getting ready to move on Clayton Avenue. So they made a huge difference in kind of guiding me in the wine selection, because there was others there. They didn't have a ton of different obscure grapes, but this was one of them. And he kind of is like, you're not going to not like it. And especially, and they know not to say too much about it, but they also know my palate enough where, they're not going to steer you the wrong way. And I think that's I'm always a huge proponent on whatever you drink, and you just got to know your tastes and what you enjoy. Because what I enjoy and J-Town sometimes enjoys, there are some things we disagree on.
I agree with that.
We agree to disagree occasionally.
We agree to disagree occasionally. By the way, this is going off of just piggybacking off of what you just said. I recommend everybody who's drinking wine, find a local shop and frequent that local shop. Ask questions, because a lot of times they will get to know your palate. And if you get close enough, they'll call you and be like, yo, we just got this brand new wine in. I think you're going to love it. And, you know, you just build relationships and you learn more about wine. So if you're one of those people that are just getting into wine or have been in wine for a little bit, but want to know more, definitely frequent your local shop, your mom and pop stores, even ones that are maybe chain, but you know they've had the same people there for a while. Frequent those places and ask questions. I think it does nothing but benefit you in the long run.
Really, really awesome. Yeah, it's relationships are everything. In fact, I'll say one more shout out. I mentioned it briefly, but the wine and cheese place that's on Clayton Avenue now, they're going to be closing. So don't freak out. They're actually just moving down the street. So it's not like the business is going out of business. They're just making a business decision and going, in my opinion, having, you know, been in commercial real estate for a long, long time, they're moving to a better location. They're closer to a Whole Foods, closer to a Target, right behind a busier center.
Nice.
So they're going to be easier to find. They're going to be right behind the Waterway Car Wash, right there across from the Whole Foods in Town and Country. So you know where they're going, and also help them out and frequent their place and buy some stuff from them so they don't have to move as much stuff. They're going to appreciate it. They'll appreciate you, get to know them a little bit better, and they can certainly guide you in the right way, whatever your palate is, right? Some people like fruitier and sweeter wines. And they can point you in the right direction that way. They also have a wonderful selection of cheese. So I'm not a paid spokesman for them, but I do really appreciate having great local vendors and people you can talk to at every scale, because every place is going to have something a little bit different.
Yeah.
So
giving
away our golden tips.
No, before we get off, I do have to say something about this wine that's changed. The more I've had this open for about 30 minutes now. And something that I'm picking up right now that's starting to, it was a secondary, but it's starting to move up a little bit to like a primary. And it's weird, mind you, but it keeps on jumping out the glass at me. I'm getting this like burnt sea salt caramel thing going on here. So it's like a burnt, like it's really starting to jump out of the glass at me. I used to love, when I was eating a lot of sweets, I was like a caramel aficionado. I loved caramel. And so, caramel apples, all that stuff. I loved caramel. And I know that smell. And so I'm getting this like salted caramel, like burnt salted caramel thing that is really cool in this wine. It doesn't taste like that, but the nose, the aromatics that's what I'm getting. It's starting to jump out at me. It's really, really cool, man. Really cool. If you're looking for a complex big boy wine, this is it for you.
Oh, I love it. I can't wait to get into that one. And even with this one as well, it's starting to open up and smooth into its own. So I'm still getting all those, certainly that a little bit of the tart cherry, or I like your descriptor of the crab apple, cranberry. And, I still get that little bit of the green apple. So it's still going to hold up well with food, but now it's mellowed a little bit more. So you're like, it's going to make my meat taste that much more yummy.
Man, that mouthfeel, and I get what you're saying, man. I get it.
Yes. Yeah. So enjoy your palate. Enjoy the wines that you do. Hopefully this has been fun for you whenever you're watching it. We're intending these things to be evergreen, and we'll keep doing these as long as people like it. But we'll keep doing it as long as we like it, and we're having a whole lot of fun. So anything else for you, Mr. Gunter?
No, I just want everybody to keep on tuning in to us. We're going to keep on doing this. We enjoy each other's company, especially over a glass of wine. And so I want you guys to be in on it. So keep on watching for our future videos, and check out my Wine Wednesdays, my Wine Sale of the Week on Fridays. And if you haven't bought my book, go check it out. Fruit and Glass, $15.
Fruit and Glass. Oops, there I forgot to block mine.
It's all good.
I know, right? I just went off screen. It's all good. I got to call my best buddy back.
Yeah, just pick it up, check it out. I got a lot of the stuff going on in the link in my bio and Instagram, and I will be posting more videos pertaining to this. So cheers, guys. Thank you for joining us today.
Cheers, everyone. And like we always say, we may not see you in person, but we're always going to see you right here on social media. Thanks for watching. Cheers.
All right.
It froze.
That's all right. Technical difficulties. Just we'll stop the recording here. Peace out, everybody. Happy weekend. Drive safe, drink safe. Keep being American.
Yep.
Yeah.